sign.
All right, we'll begin with the flag salute. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone to June 20th Marion County Commission meeting. Before we begin, a shout out to all our farmers out there with harvest going on. We got combines during the day, balers at night, planters in the morning. So be patient. Everybody's running hard, and so let's be patient. All work together and get through the next week with a safe harvest. We'll begin with the public forum. We have a couple people here. Any comments you'd like to make? Nope. Anyone online, if you'd like to make a comment, please unmute your mic.
It looks like the only ones on are the press, right?
All right. With that, we'll move into agenda approval. Commissioners have seen the agenda. Any changes? If not, we'll move into administrative business. Speaking of harvest, I'm in that camp, so things are going to be moving fast today.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this train moving.
Okay.
Trying to stay on task.
We're going to stay on task. We're not getting off. No squirrels and other exciting
All
today.
right, in your packet, you had, just as an information item, the Orsted notice to proceed from them to their contractor. I also had put in the prior resolution that you passed regarding the private maintenance of public roadways. So I assume that if you're going to pass something new, that you would have to rescind that. I do have a salary sheet in here. Somewhere. Goodness. Maybe we should just come back to that when I find it. Oh, here it is. While we're waiting for this, I did book the rooms for KAC for all 5 of you. The Friday, or excuse me, I booked Sunday, October 17th.
Book 3 nights.
I booked 3 nights, but the block didn't start on the right night. The 17th, which is a Monday, because your conference starts on Tuesday morning.
Okay.
So I booked the Monday, but it's a higher rate.
Okay.
And then they had the block extending through the night of your last session, but I didn't book that one
So
because
they
I
were
assumed
off.
you're going to be traveling home. So I feel like they didn't book the block correctly.
Right.
I did ask about it, and they said they're not going to change it. So I do have 5 rooms
Okay.
reserved for one for each of you for those nights.
And
October
Tuesday,
7th.
Wednesday,
Yes,
Okay.
and then yes.
drive home. Thursday.
I'll verify.
Okay.
I'll verify everything.
Because it's church on there.
If I need to bring a tent, just let me know now.
You will not need to bring a tent. I believe I have it
They wouldn't let
for,
you pitch it there anyway.
I believe I have it for the right dates, but I'll get those dates and get back with you. I just wanted you to be aware that I have them.
Surely they can hang out underneath the railroad track somewhere.
You can have a real adventure.
All right, we're going to bring it back to some task. The rooms are reserved, and we can adjust those as needed, because I'm sure some of us will be coming or going or not staying full time.
Right,
But at least they are there, so we're in the right building.
correct.
All right, let's move into salary. We have a new hire, new administrative specialist 1 in planning and zoning, Nina Carr, $2,399, effective 6/8/2022. Just 1?
Yes. As I was getting the minutes ready for the 13th and the 17th, I realized that I left Jonah out of the June 9th meeting minutes that you've already approved. And so, and then,
I think I moved to approve those.
yeah, you did. And then as I was getting ready to reprint those for you to reapprove, I realized that we are off the page numbers on the previous ones. So I'll have to print all those out, and maybe we can take action on those minutes later in the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. I just want them to be correct. I had the settlement statements for the real estate purchases in your packet. I was just, need a motion for from the board to allow the chairman to sign all the closing documents. Are you gonna be it?
Actually, I'm gonna ask the vice chairman to sign these documents.
Okay.
Or whoever scheduled that, again, did not think about farmers. Schedule on the middle of the afternoon. so-
Okay.
Did we get the inspection back on that?
That'll be something that you need to ask Brad when he comes, because I'm not in the loop on that.
I would make the motion to allow the vice chairman, or authorize the vice chairman to sign the signature on the closing paperwork.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
If something would show up on
Right.
inspection,
Right, we'll find
Well,
out.
it has, in the contract, it had pending
Yeah.
inspection.
pending inspection.
The inspection has been completed. We'll just get the report this
Yeah,
afternoon.
we just haven't seen a report.
Yep.
I was wondering that myself, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
okay, so there'll be other documents for you to sign at the closing, so we're not signing anything
Two
today.
different times.
Yes,
Two different
two different days,
Yes.
two different times, yeah.
Very convenient. Middle of the afternoon on both.
Yeah. Okay, in your packet, you have, that's a lot of minutes.
Page 34.
Mhm.
Early check.
Early checks in the amount of $185,610.49.
Okay, commission's had a chance to review early checks. Is there a
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Garing to approve early checks of $185,610.49. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Okay.
Stop resolutions. 37.
Okay.
I figured if I run that tilt to get good, I'm gonna be cutting every rock out there. I'm just gonna use some, it's not like it's good sharps.
In your packet, did you have the pay application for the EMS building?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This would be pay application number 10.
Make a motion to approve the application number 10.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Garing. Is there a second?
Second.
A second, Commissioner Becker. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0. Keep those checks rolling.
I'm getting some of the stuff out here that I don't need.
File's kind of thick.
I know. I really did. Here, would you mind signing off on that?
Just at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing, just kind of underneath all that. Thank you. In your packet, you had the solid waste resolution for 2022.
Commission had a chance to review. Any discussion or questions?
Keep it the same. Too much hardship coming. Possible recession. Just keep the numbers where they're at.
Was that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to
19.
approve resolution 2022-19.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Garing. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4.
I can get your signatures on that.
I'm still back on 18.
Don't put it on the back. So you're gonna add one today.
In your packet, you have the amended premium pay policy for your adoption. That changed the due date for the forms from June 10th to June 22nd. And the other change was to allow a payout for a family of deceased employee.
Commissioners had a chance to review the change in policy. Is there a motion to approve, or is there discussion first? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Crowfoot to approve the new policy. Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Again, I'll bring back the corrected minutes a little bit later. We're gonna have more than one corrected because of the page numbering issue. Okay, and the other two things in your packet, which I don't know if you want to bring it up now or if you want to do later. The IRS is raising the mileage rate effective July 1st. When we adopted our resolution in January, we went with the IRS rate at that time, which was 58.5. I didn't know if the board wants to consider raising mileage rate or not.
And the new rate is?
It is, it's going from 58.5 to 62.5 effective July 1st.
I move to
I'll make
increase.
a motion to go with IRS rate established as of July 1st.
Very good. We have a motion by Commissioner Becker with the new IRS rate. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Gary. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. All those opposed say nay. Motion approved 4-0.
Okay, I'll create a new resolution that I'll bring back for next week's meeting, so that you can do that. Yeah. Okay, and then I have information in your packet regarding coroner pay. I don't know if there's any.
I believe we're ready to take action on that also. We've talked about it a month or so ago on compensation for coroner. Tina has responded with the information requested, number of calls, and the rate. Discussion, or is there a motion?
We have to have a quorum.
Yeah. The assistants at 150 per call, director at 200 per call. Increases that budget. Well, that increases what would have been last year, $4,300 roughly, $4,330. So I'll make a motion to put those rates at 200 for the director and 150 for the assistants.
What are we paying that out of?
Generally, I think those are billed to the county attorney most of the time, and we're paying it out of, it's out of the general budget, but I believe it's coming from the county attorney's general.
Good question. Commissioner Gearing has a motion on the floor increasing coroner to 200 per call and assistant to 150 per call. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
That is what I have aside from the minutes.
Very good. We're ready for our 12:45 Conservation District.
Oh, they're waiting
Come on in.
Sorry if we weren't paying attention,
Sorry,
I
we're talking
apologize.
about
We should make a sit
We're
outside.
farming out there.
We're just listening to that.
If you would have been sitting outside in the heat, we would have made you wait longer.
Just give me a copy of the latest newsletter for the Conservation District that came out on Facebook. Wow, this is close, up close and personal.
That's right.
But whoever's speaking, they're gonna want on the side by the microphone.
Microphone,
Microphone.
please.
Go ahead, Greg.
You can handle it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Over to Marion County Conservation District, here to ask for our annual allotment. Use it primarily for paying salaries and office expense for the Marion Conservation District. which generates a whole lot of money coming into the county for conservation purposes. Many of you are familiar with that. So Lori, I think, has all the information on the sheet.
Yeah, I sent copies of all the budget.
Oh, yeah.
And, okay, and then kind of what we have done for the year
Yep.
is kind of on this little sheet here and what we're asking for. And we've added a couple of items this year. We managed to have a 4th grade day out. It was originally scheduled for out at the reservoir, but due to weather, we had to move to the fairgrounds, and it's still about drowned in the solar there. But we were thankful to have that. So,
For educational purposes.
yes,
for
it was all
environmental
educational
education,
purposes.
4th graders.
We are again partnering with the extension office for doing some soil sampling. So people have, farmers have soil samples they want taken in, the conservation district will pay part of having them bring individual samples in to have tested to see kind of where they're at. So, we're the same 2 people working in there, me and Lisa, and along with the NRCS folks. And so that's about, and we still do help with the kids if they want to go to the camp, the range camp, the youth range camp. The conservation district is willing to help pay for the cost for the kids to go to that. So, anything else?
We continue to manage the RAPS program, 2 RAPS
Yes.
programs.
And Lisa's got some information to give you on that.
Yeah, I think you might have got that, but the Cottonwood Raps, which is predominantly Mud Creek, up Tampa, over to the west, and then we also go down south into Hardin County too. It's the largest of the 2. The district actually is the administrator for those funds, so Lori writes all the checks. They handle, I do the invoices, she writes the checks. We brought in, every year, it's a 3-year grant. This is the 3rd year of the last grant, and then we're starting a new one. We bring in $131,000 for water quality improvement projects in Marion County each year. This last year, we did 2,880 acres of no-till with cover crops, 4 acres of waterways, 2 livestock watering systems that got 247 head of cattle removed from the South Cottonwood. So that was fairly large there. We fenced it off and got the new water. And we did 64 acres of cropland that actually has been converted back to permanent grass. So those were native or brome seedings that were put in. The reservoir RAPS is predominantly French Creek, and then a little bit up by Durham in that area. It's a lot smaller. There's only 2 watershed areas in there. That gets $56,000 a year. We did 1,178 acres of no-till with cover crops. 1 livestock alternative watering system. We took 78 head of cattle out of French Creek that were watering in there. And we removed a log jam because one of the priorities for KDHE is the dissolved oxygen and lack of aquatic life in French Creek, and so we removed the log jam to free up the water going through there. In exchange for that, we built this landowner a livestock stream crossing. So we removed the log jam, then we gravelled down, and so they can get across there and only disturb that area and not along the creek banks. In October, November, and January of last year, we did soil health meetings out at the county lake hall. We had Sean Tiffany from Tiffany Feeders. He talked about grazing. We had Ryan Spear. He's down in kind of the Whitewater area. He talked about being able to use cover crops and grazing to improve like your money inputs, like how are you going to make money if you do covers. And then we had Dr. Charles Rice from K-State. He spoke about carbon credits and the carbon that's in the soil and how to make an assessment of that. Then in February, we did a livestock field day up in Lincolnville. We've put in 3 new livestock feeding facilities up in there, a small, a medium, and a large one, to reduce the amount of livestock that we have of their manure hitting into Mud Creek and coming down this way. So we have 3 of those, and we went and visited there, and then the RAPS program also helped sponsor part of the water festival that we did with Lori. Westar Energy at Evergy came in on that.
Flint
Corps
Hills.
of Engineers.
Flint Hills REA.
Yeah, Flint Hills REA. Kansas Forest Service, K-State Extension, NRCS. Who else did we have there?
We had 9 stations and.
Lloyd Davies came in on macro invertebrates. He pulled a bunch of water out of creeks and showed the kids all the organisms that live in them. It was really good.
He's standing in the hallway here.
Oh,
catching
yeah. There's Lloyd.
That doesn't sound like cameras.
So,
The kids had a good day. They enjoyed that 4th grade day. We're looking to try to do it again next year. The REA guys, they actually really enjoyed it themselves and said, we'll come back. So it's like, oh, that's a relief, because that's one less thing I gotta try to plan for. So, do you have any questions for any of us? We do have a new board member this year, Kaufman Liggett. So,
Would you mind spell that?
Durham area.
Thank you.
I have to say, the programs are obviously excellent. I had a chance to go on the tour and hear the speakers. It's phenomenal. The work you're doing to protect those waterways is absolutely critical to our future. So I know you've got a lot of supporters in the county. All the support, doing a lot of good work.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions from other commission members?
Ready for a motion?
I am. Was that the lead in?
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go ahead and fund the budget at 39.5 fiscal year 2023.
Very good. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Gary. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0. Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
very
for
good.
having us very much.
You don't have to wait any pins and needles.
Keep up the good, now you can get back to harvest.
Hey, go back to talk about swappers.
Oh, yeah, repairs.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Couldn't have picked a better day. Had to be a little harvesting thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, Roger. Good, how are you?
All right, we have the bid opening for security cameras. We have some people in the hallway. Lloyd. Lloyd.
I didn't copy these for all of you. No, don't worry, it's not that bad.
Can I just sign the directory there?
I'm happy to do that.
Oh, thank you. We got 3 minutes. We gotta open it exactly. So maybe while we're waiting, oh, hey, Commissioner Balky got here just in time.
There he is. Hey, sir. Afternoon. Yes.
I said the same thing when I got here.
Yeah, one of them days.
It's been a few days since we've gone through this. Tina, if you could maybe give us a quick recap of what the project entailed.
Okay, I'll have, if it's okay, Lloyd could do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, turn that towards you, please. Yeah.
About 18 months ago, almost 2 years ago, we started, it's been 2 years, I think. We started looking at replacements for the base cameras for video surveillance in the courthouse. They were put in 2004. We have 17 cameras in the courthouse. 12 of them are from 2004. The rest are more recent, like the last 5-6 years. So it's a closed system. The base server support for it is out of support. So we started looking for alternatives. Working with the tech committee, working with ISG, who put in these cameras, we started looking at different alternatives where we upgrade the existing cameras. It started with that as a base. ISG brought in another company called Verkada, and we went through several, well, they sent us cameras basically, so we field test them here, 2 revs of that over the last year. At the same time, the camera system went in at the jail. We started looking at, with the tech committee, with what was over there at the jail about integrating with that as opposed to having two separate systems. So about 1 million meetings later, including meeting with district court, we had a lot of input from a lot of people, especially like Judge Powers. One of the things we do not have now is surveillance outside the building and on the grounds. Added that to the equation. Then we brought in the situation out there at the south shop, you know, the break-ins and stuff. Added that to the piece. So finally had the RFP written up for integration with the existing system, so it can be used all in one system. The RFP was written for the courthouse itself, and then a separate RFP just for the south shop. It went out to bid on May 16th. We did a walkthrough with the bidders that showed up on, what was that, 14th?
June 10th, I think.
10th, yeah, that was that Friday. We had 3 bidders. Ricardo didn't bid, Milestone didn't bid. We sent out specific to potential bidders, and then they posted the RFPs. We had 4PC, we had Convergent, and I can't call them INA Alert, here for the walkthrough and also the bid. We specifically wrote the bid up for integration with the existing system at the jail. The reason for that was the managing equipment, like the switches, the cameras themselves, all the monitoring, there were no security holes. There's we have a pretty much closed system now with the old system. They have a pretty closed system with the jail. We're more open because we're bringing it over here and we're going to South Shop. So the RFP was written very specifically to integrate the like equipment, so we didn't have any issues like this equipment's here, this equipment's here, do they marry? Did that leave any security issues? So that's where we stand. We got all the RFPs by the end of last Friday. You want me to talk about that at all, or?
I can read the bids.
Why don't we first, I'll ask the clerk to read the bids that have been submitted, and then we can discuss the bids.
Okay, before I read all the bids, we had one bidder that bid the specs that we asked for, and then they did an alternate bid with different specs, which is different equipment, different cameras. And since that wasn't the spec that we asked for, I just wanted to ask the board if you want me to read those bids or just the ones that are spec.
We can entertain value engineering later.
Have you seen the bids? So
Yeah.
I think we just.
would you recommend that we look at that?
Apples for apples? Right
Yeah, I have some reservations about it. There is comment in the bid about integrating that system that's already in place with the new equipment. They're a provider for that particular vendor that they wrote the second bid on, so that's why they came in that way.
So are you saying that you would or would not recommend going with alternate?
You sound like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Give us an answer.
I think what Lloyd is saying is that he would prefer to stick with the specs.
Yeah, I really would. I have reservations about that.
Yeah, let's stick with the specs.
Okay, so those
That way
are
That's the way
we're
it
comparing
was.
apples to
Yep,
apples.
Yep, that's
Okay.
fair.
And we discussed that in the walkthrough specifically.
Yeah, that would be fair.
So we had a bid from Convergent for the courthouse in the amount of $155,783.07. $155,783.07. And their bid for the road and bridge shop the south shop was $52,876.26. And then there's a monthly recurring monitoring connect fee for that bid of $43.60 per month. The next bid is for 4PC Technologies. Their bid for the courthouse was $115,773.57. 115-77357. The bid for the south shop is $35,428.94 with a recurring fee of $37.85 per month. The road and bridge number was 35,428.94. $37.85 a month. Okay. The bid from INA Alert. Let me make sure I have this. For the specs that were in the RFP, for the courthouse is $129,686.06, $129,686.06, and for the south shop, $43,820.45. with $85 monthly connect fee. And those are the bids.
What was the second bid? What was the company name? 4PC?
Number four, PC.
4PC.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Oh, that
Lloyd, you had a chance to review the bids
Yes.
and the providers.
Yes.
Any input, comments?
I need more time. There's a lot of detail. They're 50 to 75 pages each. They're all the bidders did a great job. It's terrific. I mean, I was also looking at some of the floor-to-floor security, where we're putting things. Also, what they have to do for the UPSs. The convergent bid actually used fewer cameras than what we had specifically spec'd out. And we explained some of the reasoning for that. All of them were apples and apples. They did a really good job. So,
And the timeline that we discussed in the RFP and that we put out to the vendors was that the bids would be open today. We would have a recommendation to the board for next Monday, and with potential award on or before the following meeting, the first meeting in July.
So no action on today?
You don't need to take an action today, and then you'll want to need to think about where we're going to pay for this from as well.
Glad you already explained that.
Got one question for the south shop. Do we need security out there?
Yes, there's been a lot of vandalism out there.
Yeah, but that's high dollar security, let me tell you,
Yeah.
for the dollar amount that we've lost.
And that's a
That's what I
discussion to
mean.
be
Does
had.
the expense justify the needs?
Right, and that's why it's a separate part.
And we lost a couple chainsaws and some shovels.
Well, yeah.
I'm asking.
But it's a discussion we need to
Yeah,
have.
it's just
Okay.
part of the bid.
Yeah.
Well, it's a separate bid
It's a-
completely,
yeah.
so if you decide that you
Right,
don't
we
want
don't
to
have to
spend
accept
that.
that.
Right.
Right. Yes, Commissioner Dalkey.
Okay. This updates the courthouse, but we're 12 years into that over there. What's to the court, to the law system? Jake?
no, we put that in. 2
This
years
is just a
ago.
couple
Oh,
years
this-
old. That was.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
all
okay.
I'm there.
Okay.
And it's got an update now.
Okay.
So,
Okay, okay.
The one piece of this we didn't do is access controls for the doors.
Yeah.
But it can be added.
Yes.
That was part of the design.
We talked about that from day one, make sure this is all something that can be monitored and integrated together, so.
But it would be beneficial to have that number in case you didn't go the road and bridges deal. You could have access controls plugged in.
Is 911 monitored these days?
Yeah.
Johnny, you just brought something up. What happens if we put a new building up somewhere And we're kinda, is it gonna be something like the South Shop bid then for another building here somewhere in town or someplace else?
The South Shop, part of the cost of the South Shop is the lack of internet out there.
Yeah, lack of infrastructure.
Yeah, we don't have the infrastructure to get back here. We're bringing it back to the building.
Okay.
So it'd be a little easier.
It would be quite a bit cheaper for a building inside the city limit, I would think. but-
Because we discussed health department and planning and zoning, but
Okay.
planning and zoning is health department. So, yeah, their integration would be a lot easier because it was just kind of sitting out there.
Long ways from nowhere.
Yeah,
Which location is the health department where they're at presently?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, either one would work.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe 5 or either
Okay.
locations.
Does the commission want to consider this until next week, or do you want to do a little further discussion? I'm hearing pretty strong consensus about not pursuing the South Shop portion of the bid.
Yeah, but I'd
I'd
like
be
to see,
against it.
I'd like to see the access controls, if we've got time to get that in.
I don't know, we could before next Monday.
I think that's a whole nother,
We'd have to come back and see. We'd
They-
have to put
it would be great to have the access
control.
controls, but the
That's right.
camera issue has been ongoing for quite some time. And so that's more of the
Priority.
urgency, to get the cameras up to date.
Well, I mean, could you get your network drops at the same time? Wouldn't that give you some cost savings?
For the access control, you mean?
Yeah.
We have to come with the bidding, so.
Because you're gonna have panels open, you're gonna be running and
Well,
gunning
right.
and.
We don't have everything spec'd on what they want, what we want. I don't know if we can get that done by next Monday.
I don't know if they all ran off of Cat 6 or not.
Yeah.
Just have tails at each location.
Have it done there. We can discuss.
Explain what you're talking
Well, basically, you can have everything opened up, all your ceilings and everything, so then you're running your extra cabling to those predetermined locations. And just drop it Cat 6s, and you're not tying it to anything, but then you don't have to open the ceiling back up except in 2 spaces.
Yeah.
Wherever the access control is and the server.
So it's like a rough end?
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
for future.
It's a lot.
Since
easier to
since
run
it's
cables.
open, it's
Cable's cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said that the main cost to go out to the South Shop was bringing the internet back in, but it could still be cambered for somewhat reasonable without, but wouldn't be monitored by somebody.
It'd be a you
Separate.
could do it as a separate system and do something lesser if you,
I mean, I didn't know whether this system would, whether we could buy this system with the cameras and maybe leave the internet part out. I'm just asking, I don't know that. And just have the cameras ready to go in case we do decide to go ahead with the.
Internet's just $50 a month.
Well, then that's not part of it, that, we understand that, but there's a cost here of 40-some thousand, 35,000. And that's why I'm asking whether it's.
Yeah, main cost is equipment out there and setup, configuration, and alarming and passcodes to turn on and off out there. Which is, that did have access controls, so, that's not part of this building here. Freaking out a little bit.
I just asking,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hate to see us not camera the place somehow.
Right.
Whether
Well,
it's,
isn't the most important thing that it's recording all the time? It's not like that somebody's sitting in front of a computer
yeah,
making sure nobody walked across the lawn out here or
Well,
something.
this is alarm system, sirens, and notification back to them. That's what's in this for that South Shop. So
basically got some kind of geofence built into the screen, and basically if somebody activates that, it sends a signal.
yeah. Yeah, it's all automatic now,
Deer.
instead of watching it.
we do have the other, vendors out there, like what we looked at with Vergata, so they don't come in cheaper. It wouldn't be integrated with this system,
Yep.
so. But give us some protection out there.
Okay.
'Cause we looked at
I was testing.
That was the first
starting to pick up on deer and dogs, and they can differentiate what's what.
Questions?
I think, wait for a recommendation as far as, selecting.
Very good. Well, we appreciate all the work that's gone into it, because it's way beyond what most of us, one commissioner were trying to into it. The rest of us are kind of work.
Everybody's done a good job, especially the tech committee and department heads there. They
Good.
poured over this and poured over this.
I know a lot of work's going into it.
Yeah. And just obvious things, I mean, like, it took a while before it even came up, and that was Judge Powers. And I said, hey, we have cameras outside. And we were so focused on the cameras inside the building, because that's what was obsolete. We don't, so we started looking down that road.
Is 4PC a local company or regional or what?
No, we're out of Augusta, Kansas, actually, so.
Kansas County.
Yes, and we appreciate all our bidders that took the time to
Thank you.
put in bids. Very good. Anything else? If not, we'll come back and revisit it next week, make a decision. However much we're
Thanks, Will.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks to the tech committee doing all the legwork to figure out what's wanted.
Yeah, thank the tech committee.
Right. Okay, 1:15, our next item is at 1:30. I'm gonna slip in an executive session on potential property acquisition for 15 minutes. I move we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential property acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, Item 6, preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate with just the commission for 15 minutes from 1:15 to 1:30. Second by Commissioner Gary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carried 5-0. We'll be back at 1:30.
This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome.
Wow.
It's quiet.
You guys all act like your time out.
We are.
Here.
We are, okay, sorry. We are out of executive session, no decisions made. Sheriff just walked in, did you have any?
No, I'm just listening. See what's going on.
We got ready to go back to an executive.
Are you? Well, cry, Minnie, six.
Your timing is not good.
I told you, I just came out, I saw the security company camera deal.
Ah, yes.
I was gonna come in and listen to it.
And we just heard the numbers, and that was that.
Yeah, so Lloyd is reviewing, and then he'll have a recommendation for us next week.
Okay.
So if you would want to talk to Lloyd, he'd have all details.
Yep, that's what I'm after.
That's what he.
I'll get with you, give you a holler one of these days.
Okay, that's good. Thanks, guys.
Been warned, huh?
Yeah, I'm warning you.
All right, I think I mentioned we were out of executive session, no decisions made. We're going to go back into executive session.
Yep, sorry.
Correct?
Yes.
Personal performance. For personal performance for 25 minutes. Let's start this way. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with the commission and Tina for 25 minutes from 1:35 to 2 o'clock. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Gary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We will be back at 2 o'clock. Minute to get technology going.
You bet.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we're out of executive session, no decisions made. Ready for the quarterly report on EMS. Travis?
You bet.
Take one, pass them down.
You bet.
Is this mine?
Yes, it is yours.
Okay. There's Dave's right on the bottom there.
All right.
Oh, there's two there.
Oh, well, that's not one of them two, I guess. Sorry. The write-offs, huh? Yeah, it's that time.
That's when there's not red.
Should be right.
Yeah.
So March, we ran 84 calls, April 83, and May 99. Putting our year-to-date total at 473 calls. And then I have the write-offs the quarterly write-offs. Looks like, sorry, I didn't review it very well. It's $14,000.
Yeah, 14.
Yep, $465.06.
I'll make a motion to approve the write-offs, the amount of $14,465.06.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Becker. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Dalkey. Any discussion or questions?
Everything's been gone through and checked out, everything possible.
Yep.
Set-off program still in effect?
Still in effect even after you write these
Okay.
off.
If not, all in favor say aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay.
No shortage of insurance companies, is there?
No. Some pay better than others. Some don't have any. See, mileage is a big part of it. On the charges. The balance on account receivable about the same as what it usually is.
Okay.
No big changes.
It sounded like the monthly runs, the trend is up. Is that kind of a seasonal, or is that just is that kind of the trend right now? Or just
I mean, it was in spurts.
no real factor?
No. That is all I have for you. Anything for me?
Got a question
Okay.
on the other job, the remodeling.
Yeah.
What's that hold up?
I believe the clerk's office has reached out for insurance liability stuff on some carpentry work, and we have not got anything back on that.
Oh, we still haven't? I thought that it was all back.
I don't believe it is. It wasn't last week.
Oh,
Passing the buck.
But I think at this point, we may want to redirect. I think we're past our deadline anyway. We'll probably redirect our efforts and get some carpeting going and some paint and call it good.
Have the contractors say what their problem is? Hold up.
I think they're busy.
I haven't heard a contractor not say that.
Right. It seems to be a trend right now.
when I get out of the meeting, I can check on that, Travis.
Yeah, last week Judy was still unable to make contact, and that's the last I checked on it.
What's in here?
And if your lights are not out, which is 3 weeks. You're out of power.
Then maybe.
I was just over the other day.
Yeah.
Jim said nobody's been there for a while.
Right. Yeah, the floor people are ready to get to work. I was holding them up on some sheetrock type work, but
I'm gonna paint sheetrock first.
just skip the sheetrock work. So,
All right.
anything else?
Thank you, Travis.
All right, thank you.
Bryce, you're ready early?
Hello.
Must have a good one.
How's that?
I don't know.
Is this a good one?
Yeah.
Hold up.
You didn't come in.
I'll work on it next time.
Okay.
First thing I have is transport fuel bids. Recommendation for MFA, or EPS,
let Johnny know.
Do what?
You better let Johnny know.
Yes, yes. Well, I think what the deal
About
is.
$2,000 difference, you better let Johnny know.
Well, I think, Barb may be on vacation. That's the one we usually get back with, so that's why.
I'll make a motion to approve MFA Oil, bid of $35,304.10. The other bid was Epps, $37,002.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Becker. Is there a second by Commissioner Gary? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Oh, the good old days of 16,000 are gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, we always hope that they're gonna go back down. But you guys approved the purchase of that tractor from GNR. There was a tractor similar to the one that we have that we're getting rid of at auction last week. They went for $6,000. So I asked GNR if they would give us $5,500 for our old one, for a net change of $50,000, and they were okay with that. So if you guys are okay with that, again, the difference that, honestly, the one that went for $6,000 was nicer than ours, it even had a 3-point and everything else, so I thought $5,500 was reasonable for that tractor for what we got rid of, so.
Any commission objection? If not, commission consensus?
Okay, sounds good. As I did follow up from last week on the magnets, I did confirm that neither bid for the magnets included the attachments for our front lift group. Yes, I contacted Caterpillar. The front hooks alone were almost $580 a piece. The fact is, I just met with one of the manufacturers today. He said, honestly, they could build that attachment for us, but it would be cheaper for us. Because he said they will buy everything retaily and just mark it up quite a bit. And so I was going to contact our local places around here, see if they'd be interested in give us a quote to do that. So we'll follow up with that. But he said, we could sure do it, but it would be darn sure cheaper. So anyway, I will check into that.
Good.
The contractor is still looking for Indigo Road work, maybe the end of this week, if not next week. I think we're going to be able to put a little bit more asphalt on this, especially on the south 3 miles. We've went back and checked comps and everything else. I think we can do that. So working with that, I said we could modify pretty much whatever we wanted to, as long as we didn't go in that quantity for the tonnage. So we're okay with that. But the plan is still to do 2 inches on everything, with 3 inches on the middle 2 miles, and then probably 3.5 to 4 on the south 3 miles. So give us a little more structure on top of that. So.
Contact Harvey County and let them know what we're doing.
Yes, we'll do that.
That way they can try to buy a mile.
Put the detour slide up there.
Yeah. So, and as far as I know, the last I heard was the full depth reclamation in hopefully the middle of July.
Wow,
So
that's moving pretty fast.
I think they rearranged some things to get it done. So
The microservice guys,
still in August,
Okay.
maybe the second week in August. That's the last I heard. So.
that's awesome. Gonna be a traffic jam for a minute, but we just gotta get it
Well,
done.
and that's the schedule as of today. So we'll see what happens.
And that's what people have.
Subject to change.
Subject to change,
Yes.
and people have to understand, if you want good construction, you're gonna have to put up with.
Well, that's the unfortunate part about this. We are hopefully gonna get out of weed harvest. Weed harvest should be
That
done
is
by the
good.
end of this week. So that's what I told them. I said that's the last we want to do is start stopping traffic during weed harvest or any kind of harvest if we
If
can.
it was this week, it'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
We'd all
So,
be in big trouble.
I've had numerous times where I've called up the contractor, says, I will give you the rest of the week off. We're not gonna do this. It's just, one was on K61 Southwest of McPherson during the state fair. I said, what are you guys doing out here? Come on. So, anyway, we got out of there.
Kansas, what's the concrete project?
I haven't done any more with that. Well, I contacted Design about doing some survey work, but haven't done any further than that.
Okay.
Moving, so we got a winter project too.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll still have plenty of time as far as that goes.
Oh, yeah, but it's not as much weather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sensitive.
we can do it, yeah. We can do it later in the year. In fact, this mild winter, we can still do it in the winter time.
That probably works better for a contract.
Well, it would get,
Or throw heat blankets.
well, yeah, I mean, it's as long as you keep it from, and really, it's one of the best times to make concrete, just as long as it doesn't freeze hard for a long time. You know, if you can maintain above freezing for the first night, you're typically in good shape. So, that's not a problem, so. We did receive the money from the city of Marion for a motor grader they purchased. That was deposited back into the special equipment fund this last week, just FYI. Brad, I said you want to go through these during your time. Okay, went through those. Magnets. Soil Ken was in last week. He brought me a puck, basically a compressed cylinder of what the material's like at 14% moisture. It very, very good. So I think when we get to that point, we'll good shape as far as doing that work. So still working. I've been trying to contact contractors to do it. We may just have to do it ourselves. And on the Olney Road.
Olney Road.
Yep. Sorry, jumping around a little bit. So.
What was the timeline on that? Do we have a timeline on it?
Not really. It's trying to get to see if somebody else can come in and do that. I think honestly, the way things are looking, everybody else will be busy. It's going to just come down to us renting a machine to do it.
What kind of machine do we need?
Just go with big reclaimer, you know, like they've used in the past.
And it'd be able to mix this product.
Oh yeah. I was actually surprised. We were talking about the quantity. He said with the material, he says we're going to look at like a 250-gallon tote for the entire project.
250 gallons?
Yes.
What is it, a powder-based stuff?
It's a liquid that they've some engineer with Florida State. They got this mixed out. I'm really interested, but you know,
Well, it'll be a good area to.
Well, yeah.
If it works, what do you need full depth for then?
Well, you know, that's.
We don't know if it's going to work yet.
Well, that's the whole point. Yeah.
If it works, every road rebuild is going to have it mixed in it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, really, that's.
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
We were actually talking about it. He said this road is very, very good because it doesn't have a lot of material on top of it. He said they've actually tried it on projects where there was like 8 inches of asphalt. He said it does not work well. It needs to bond to that soil as much as anything could hurt the asphalt. He said, not saying it didn't help it, but it did not get the optimum results.
Interesting.
So, the other thing I would like to bring up, I heard you guys talking about the security at the South Shop.
Yes.
To be honest with you, I look at the fact is that we've been hit 3 times since I've been here. We have probably been hit in the $30,000+ range between hand tools and chop saws and chainsaws and damage. I mean, we've got a probably $2,000 steel door out there that needs to be replaced. Obviously, it's a commission decision, but part of the thing is, yes, we don't need it. We wouldn't necessarily have to have the communication back here, but part of the problem we face is they may or may not know who it is, but typically when we get hit out there, there's a lot of other people that get hit as well. So I think it's probably a ring that's moving around. And, you know, maybe if we get identification, maybe if we don't, it's trying to find them. What we had tried to talk about was if we could get out there to first response, maybe we could get out there fast enough to try to catch them. Because if they're up there in the middle of the building, that basically allows them to say they almost need to go by foot, whether it's any other direction, because trying to get back out would be kind of difficult. So that's what I was looking at, was obviously trying to get the first response, you know, and we've never had an issue of anything more than that, but you never know. And it's the same thing with the security system here. Why do you upgrade here? Because you want to have the best facilities or security for what if. You know, yeah, you always hope that something like that never happens. But like I said, it's just something to think about. So yeah, we could do without the monitoring system, but it would still be loaded on a disc. So typically we get hit on the weekend, so it'd be, if they hit you Friday night or Saturday, you wouldn't know until at least Monday that something happened. And I don't know how fast it is, but if you ask law enforcement, they say typically within 12 to 24 hours, I'm guessing things are probably gone, unless they're finding a place to store them locally. But like I said, I don't think that many of them are really local. I think they just come in and get us to the spot, so. But,
Well, I appreciate the information because there was discussion
Yep,
and
yep.
knowing a little more, the numbers of what has been taken
yeah.
and more of your insight.
Yeah, this last time, I would probably say they spent at least 30 minutes working on that steel door between the two buildings that was deadbolted.
Mhm.
And I mean, they kicked in probably 18 inches of it at almost a 45-degree angle on the bottom of it. I can't believe anybody would go to that work, because if they really wanted to get in, why didn't they just go around and kick in the front door, break the padlock, whatever the case may be. But anyway, they went to a lot of work to try to stay, you know, inside of there. Yeah, this last time they actually took the oxygen acetylene bottles. They took the regulators, things like that. Took all the electric tools out of the truck. Left the welding cables, welding leads, which I heard of is because the salvage or the scrap companies are getting more and more difficult on copper wire. They don't want to give out any more information that they have or whatever else, so they don't want to have to do that. But yeah, it's, you know, like I said, they kicked in doors to chainsaws, and they got 2 quickie saws this last time, and you know they can run up to close to $1,000. So, and the only time we really found something is when they had the local ring that was busted. We got back quite a bit of stuff, but again, not all of it. So,
We'll appreciate the information.
Yeah.
We'll make our decision next week, but
yeah.
that gives us more to show over.
Sure. I wish I could say we wouldn't have a problem, but
Right.
and honestly, that money there was just for the north building. We just had a camera set up to watch the south building, even though there's really not a lot in there, but at least it would show us somebody over there. So,
Okay.
so anyway, now that you've had the meeting with the accountant, any money for a building? One
Tapped
no?
out.
Tapped out. Okay, there's one no. One still.
Now, if you want a boat, the commission's in favor of getting a boat.
A boat for
Jet ski. Jet ski.
jet ski.
We'll get you a jet ski. but
Okay.
We'll do a two for one on jet
That
ski.
really wouldn't do me much good. I don't think for. So okay, well I just
Snowmobile?
no
Oh,
no. If we get to the snowmobile, we're gonna have a lot more problems. So,
The issue, from the consensus I'm getting from the commission is the issue is location.
okay.
We've got to nail down location.
Okay.
And that's, the commission has to make that decision. We need your input to help make that decision. You've given us a couple different options, but we don't really have, I don't feel a consensus yet on which way to go on those options.
Okay.
Do you want to give us more information or insight on location?
Locations and financial.
And then, yeah.
Well-
What it's gonna cost for that location?
Location. Aside from that,
Infrastructure.
yeah, I mean, just the
All that.
infrastructure, civil stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Between building the truck storage, the shop, fuel tanks, sign storage, whatever else, I'm probably gonna be minimum of $4 million. Now, that doesn't include land acquisition or stuff like that, because there's gonna be an awful lot of site work and stuff like that around there too.
Sure.
So, you know, again, that really doesn't matter where we go. If we go with Marion or Hillsborough, there essentially would be no land or money there. But if we go to Kansas, we're probably gonna have to buy property somewhere there. So whatever that accounts for.
And utilities.
Yeah. So it's gonna be, I mean, even though it might be the best for a location, it's gonna cost more money just to get out there. So,
Then we also need to talk about funding.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about
yeah,
sales tax issue, or you talking about what?
sure,
Right.
sure.
Right. And my
Not
thought
a
earlier.
great time to talk about any kind of tax, I can guarantee you that.
That's exactly right.
Well, it's just, and it's understandable. I mean, it's a lot of money and things like that, but.
My hope earlier was to phase it in, but it sounds like that's really not an option.
Well, I mean, phasing it in, the problem with that is what part do you phase in, what
Right.
part do you keep where it's at?
And there's two locations to maintain.
Yeah, well, if they put a shop up, well then, that's great, but all my fuel still stays here as well as my truck storage or, all those things kind of.
One question, it's, the building, would it we eliminate the need for the south shop?
No, because that actually comes into play because there's times when the shop is busy here. We have actually guys do maintenance out there. Second of all, it can actually be a coop backup for us in case we have the backup as well as Pilsen. You know, I'd like to stay as versatile as I can. The south shop, as far as the building, it could reduce some of that, but we still need the storage for all the other stuff out there, the rock and everything else. But yeah, as far as the buildings goes, but yeah.
I was talking about the building,
Yeah.
security, that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you build a new one, then the security wouldn't be as important down there.
Yes, yeah. Well, and that does come into play because if we, I mean, we keep our the bridge truck out there, that's typically what they hit. That's the one with all the tools on and everything else.
So end up going to the.
We could do that, you know, but they still put their motor graders in there, you know, at nights and weekends. So you look at the possibility of damage from storms, you know. So.
I'm just thinking, if we're going to spend that kind of money, it would need to be a way to eliminate some other headaches.
Right. Yeah. Well, I understand, and unfortunately, those headaches are out of our control for the most part because of that stuff that happens. But it's been on average about once a year.
Is the reason we store them out there is because operators live in town?
Well, that place that's been out there has been the local place out there for years. I mean, those people that run out there are moved to different places or whatever else. We have fuel out there as well. You know, so it does come in handy, especially now with the building, that if we need to, we can take a piece of equipment out there and just back it in there, and we can leave it for however long, you know, a couple of weeks if we have to tear into it. So it does give us another opportunity to store stuff. It's just like Pilsen during the wintertime especially, we put all our distributor and everything else in there. We've never had any issues with there, but I mean, typically you have people driving by there enough, it's pretty tough to try to get in now there. Well, that one down there is just so secluded. You know, not down in Peabody, it's right there in town, so that's just what kills us out there, is just the remoteness.
Sure.
So.
Right. Help me, Commission, that previously we had 100,000 on the budget item for the building, is that right? Or do we have nothing?
I'll tell you Friday.
Yeah.
I can tell you Friday.
I know,
Yeah.
I know Friday. But I was thinking in our discussion, we upped that, didn't we?
Yeah, so I mean, at that, we're talking four some million. I mean, we're not gonna get there this year.
No.
We're not gonna get there next year.
And again, we've just been through an experience where we need to, if we're gonna do a location, we need to do the location
Yeah.
right. I mean, there's options out there, and we want the right option. And I know I hate to go 2 years and then come around, well, we're gonna go right back with option one, or we could have had the building in place 2 or 3 years ago. But at the same time, if the commission is still committed to doing a new site, we need to make sure we pick the right site and then commit the resources to do it and do it right. So keep reminding us, keep pushing us.
You want to come in Friday and talk to Scott then too?
Probably should just call him at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.?
That's when it'll be, the night before. It's when
Night
it'll be
before,
working.
okay, because he'll still be just.
He'll be working on it.
Gotcha.
Be working on his fourth cup of coffee.
Yeah, probably will. No
Yeah,
weekends.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
What I have written down in here is you said 250,000 for 2023 for the new building.
250.
Move it that way.
Get the doorstep.
Yes.
Do the down payment for it.
250,000 doesn't do the same thing it did 10 years ago, that's for sure.
That was a,
The only other thing I had under my stuff with How to Clean Brad is an executive session for 10 minutes to discuss hiring somebody. Have some questions on that.
okay. Do you want to do the policies, or do you want to go into that the executive session on personnel first?
Might as well do it. I don't care.
Okay. Commissioner Dolphy?
Could I have 3 minutes with Bryce, just asking a public question about the wind farms?
Sure.
Okay. Bryce, number one, I seen north of the blacktop north of Canada, between the old railroad tracks and the highway, got 2 holes just shifting out. there's two right in the middle of the road. And
North of Canada?
north of Canada, between what the old railroad tracks cross right
Right.
there,
Okay.
and 56 highway. My concern about it is my base going. That's what but how much heavy traffic has been coming over that, because for the last 2 weeks now, we've seen all kinds of heavy traffic on Sunflower and Nighthawk due to the wind farms. The other thing is I drove the area this morning. I had a lot of locates out there in that wind farm area. And then I stopped and talked to a couple farmers and see if they was having any problems with anything going on out there. And both of them appreciated what roads has been rocked, but they're both upset that we didn't do no prep work, and what their grader, I think it's their grader, isn't it, working ahead of the rock? It's not our grader, is it?
Correct.
Just kicking it out like this, and when they come back in and pour their 4 or 5 inches of rock, you've got a bowl. You got a bowl.
Yeah, underneath the rock, there's a bowl holding water.
Well, I mean, the bowl itself is because they filled what ditches we had, and some of them didn't even have some ditches, and they're just kicking the loose dirt, maybe due to the mud and stuff, to get it out of the way, but they're kicking it and laying it over on the banks.
We had that discussion last week. There was no crown of the roads. I brought that up. So again, we had that talk about doing that. On 110th, they're actually planning on bringing at least 1, if not 2 more lifts of rock in. Today they're actually out there putting magnesium chloride down to cut down the dust and stuff to that effect too. So, but
Well, what it leads me to, Bryce, is the future here. I don't know what we're gonna do when they pull out and leave, okay? I don't expect to take care of those roads myself. I mean, there's 5 of us here, there'll be 5 different votes. But if they're gonna leave us a bowl with rock, we ain't no better off than what we was when we cut.
I agree with you. I mean,
So, and that's the farmer's concern too.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying.
well,
Because they're happy with what they've got, but they'd like to have just a little more.
Well, I understand, but the other thing is we're just getting started here.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 2 years to go on this, or at least the end of next year. So yeah, I'm aware of all that.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to bring it up here
Not a problem.
so that we
Yeah.
all know
And honestly, I will tell you that, we've got some breakup on Sunflower Road. I actually got a call about that the first day it broke out. They're in the process of working on that. They've actually asked me, if nothing else, asphalt, can they just go back in and put a concrete patch, just temporarily? Because obviously trying to put asphalt in there can take some time too. I said, I don't care, because we're gonna make sure it's right when we're done. They're okay with that.
what he's talking about is right where they put the
South of 110.
Yeah, south of 110th, but they're going to turn and
Yep.
take all the way to the laydown plant.
Yeah,
Take it.
yeah.
That road's going to hit a
I
lot of construction
I
there.
also talked to them about the first 100 or so feet going west on 110th. I asked them to consider bringing in millings or something to that effect, not only for dust, but as well as tracking stuff out on the road.
Cool.
I will tell you that I have been very impressed with this Wanzak. They have been very,
Good
man,
work.
yes, they've
Good.
been fantastic. We actually went out and visited them last week, and they drove us all around. They got a bridge out there that they have in question, and we have no specs on it or whatever else. He's gonna put steel plates across it with 3 inches of asphalt before he goes across it. So, they're,
Is that called an air bridge?
I don't know what you call that, just reinforcement as far as.
I heard the word air bridge this morning. That's why I asked that.
I've never heard of an air
I've
bridge.
I've never either, but I just heard
But
that.
again,
so.
these guys, I mean, we, like I said, that was Saturday morning that he called me
Okay.
to tell me about that. So they're all over it. They have meetings daily out there.
This was up on 130th today, that one of the complaints was, but his ditch, he says, and that was one of the guys that told me this morning, said, I gotta go make a ditch out there, because that'll get rid of some of the water, so.
I can also tell you that 130th is also the area, one of the areas that we took down a whole bunch of trees. Clean out that, and the guy wasn't happy about us taking down the trees with the excavator, but it's a hedgerow like we normally would. 2 years from now, you won't know a difference. So anyway.
Oh, you just trimmed it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, we went in there and did that within a half day.
Right,
And
right.
like I said, it'll grow back, nobody knows, but at least we can find a ditch now.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Good.
I'm aware of all that and, you know,
Okay.
yeah, so, like I said, these guys have been great so far,
Well,
so.
let us know how things are going because.
Well,
I think
again,
we-
that's what,
We'll stay on top of
I
it.
totally forgot to bring, I need to start bringing that up every week as far as
Okay.
what they're doing, but.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
How many
they,
roads are they actually rocking?
I actually have a map, I don't know if it's.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah, they've done 1/10 all the way from Sunflower to Nighthawk. They've done the first application, some of that will require as many as 2 more applications of 2-inch. They've done 1/30th from Nighthawk east, to get down to one of their towers. They're concentrating on the 5, is it Doyle Creek or whatever they are. He actually showed us the foundation, the start of one that they want to pour the base probably by the first week of July. 548 cubic yards of concrete in one base. It's a monster. So anyway,
Yeah.
they definitely some.
There's quite a bit of concrete in that.
Good thing, Dave.
Electric lines running too.
Good thing you said something about more lifts of rock, because if I remember your project up there, there was at least 8 inches to 10 inches of rock on most roads. Is that
I wouldn't
fair?
say that much, but
Yeah.
there was a.
Most of the stuff they did up there was, I think they did a cement treated
They
subgrade
did,
head of there.
they
And
did
then-
the full depth reclamation
Yes.
first with cement injection, and then they put 6-inch on top. They
6.
processed it, are they processing down there?
They're not processing this.
Okay.
But again, they said if it comes to that point, now one thing that I did say right off the bat was, they said, well, we were just gonna put down 83, and I said, absolutely not. We've got enough 83 out there. So we did actually get into the SS5, and I've actually talked to them about maybe using the gray rock, because they're finding out just how fast, with that much traffic and how much moisture.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of
Yeah,
dust.
yeah, yeah.
There's
So,
gonna be a lot of dust.
so like I said, they're putting down the magnesium chloride.
Okay,
right now.
Good.
What about sand in front of houses? Is that a
They're
possibility?
going to do that, also the mag chloride in front of there.
Okay.
We made specific notice at 1/20th of the daycare, just west of 1/20th. They are going to put 5-mile-an-hour speed limit signs up, and they're going to monitor that constantly. He also told me that every intersection out there that is unrestricted, they're going to tell all their people that they basically want a stop situation. Every intersection they come up to, they're essentially gonna stop or just almost stop, just to make sure that somebody's zipping through there.
Well,
So
thank you for that, because,
Yeah.
I'm just, like I said, I'm just talking to the people that's being
Sure,
affected
sure.
out there.
Well, and again, I've told Wanzak, I said, you guys need to take care of everything, because as soon as the complaints start coming in, that's when it's gonna get, so.
I'm done, Dave.
Yeah.
Good, thanks for the update.
Yep.
Executive session on personnel hiring, is that
Yes,
10, how long?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. I move we recess an executive session in order to discuss personnel.
Thank you, Roger.
I guess it's.
Personnel hiring, yeah.
Okay, just asking. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item for personnel matters, non-elected personnel, with the commission, Bryce, Brad, Tina?
If they wanna stay, I mean, it's just a matter, we need to talk, I wanna talk about stuff whether they're here or not.
Okay, for, you said 10 minutes? 2:35 to 2:45. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 2:45.
It's all the chickens.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we're out of executive session. No decisions made. Anything else, Bryce?
No, other than if you wanna do the stuff with Brad.
All right.
Or if you wanna do it later, or whatever you wanna do.
Let's move into the policies.
And you wish to start with what we reviewed or at least preliminarily distributed to you with the final form generally for the private maintenance, and then what we often refer to as recreational mudding on the dirt roads and culverts, and then a policy on setting a commission agenda, which wouldn't involve Bryce per se. I think all three of the others be interested certainly in his reactions to some of those things, as well as all of yours. I kept, as I indicated last time, the recreational damage issue as simplistic as possible. The other two the landowner work in terms of maintenance, that kind of thing. We changed that around a bit to broaden that some so that the minor kinds of things that we see them do and have historically seen them do are exempted. And then culverts is, there I really would lean on what Bryce would like to see.
Bryce, you had a chance to
Yes, I did.
review all those comments.
I guess if you want to start, the Marion County Road Maintenance Resolution,
Okay.
we still have the application of $50. Were we gonna get
No,
rid of that?
I had struck that, but I haven't finished striking other things because I just wanted to be sure I knew if there were other changes.
And you have that in the actual application as well?
Yes.
Okay.
The application also, Tina asked me about it, in terms of maintenance versus culverts. I was gonna try to use the same application form
Okay.
with just some minor modifications and changes to the heading, so that we weren't having to recreate the wheel each time.
The other thing on that on the application itself, special conditions, if approved, entrances larger than 40 feet will require a poly-coated corrugated metal pipe. I don't need that.
Okay.
Just a corrugated metal pipe would be good, because the poly substantially increases the poly coating.
Yes.
Substantially increases the price, so.
It's like
Yeah.
gas
Yep.
plant facility.
But I think that was all I had on that one, was those three things.
So the two of you have those, we're on the same page. Right.
Well, you know, in my engineering degree, the poly-coated corrugated is always recommended.
Yes, I bet it is. Mhm. And the next time you fill out this permit, I will make sure that it's a poly-coated, yes.
I'm looking for the free stuff.
Yes.
Engineer that gets paid 10% on top of the job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
the engineering.
Sure. So,
I'll strike that and also the 50.
We have an engineer and a lawyer working for us.
That's why we're just sitting here watching.
The bantering.
I mean, over on that side of the table.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
I catch that.
Okay.
Right beside you.
Recreational use of damage to right of way, I did not see a problem on there, but that was pretty straightforward.
Okay. Recreation.
We did leave the 2-month deadline in after some discussion last time.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have not, you know, I have roughed out the final, but I omitted the $50 on the application fee. I also referred to it, just so everybody's clear, as an inspection fee in the actual application, but I'm gonna strike that as well, so.
Okay. Everybody on board with that?
I think Dave said it right. We gotta try to get people to play ball, just.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all, it seems
Culvert,
logical.
culvert is different, there's
Right.
more design and inspection. So the culvert one, there's still a $50.
Okay. On the entrance and culvert policy, about halfway down the first page, you said new shared entrances will not be allowed. Honestly, I would encourage shared entrances, because if we can put 2 entrances in one with one operation, it's a win-win, because they actually, as long as they can, you know, work with each other, we put in one pipe, even though it's longer, but they both get to use the longer pipe.
Some synergy with how
Yep.
that gets installed.
Yep.
Sure.
So that
And
just
then-
gets submitted.
What's that?
That sentence, just strike it.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, good.
And I guess the next sentence, a minimum 40 feet between the property line and the toe of the nearest entrance. Are you talking about 2 entrances right next to each other? Or
That's-
that would be on the shared entrance portion?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. I guess I was a little confused. But anyway, if they're that close, I would say, hey, let's just put in a shared entrance, and, you know, like I said, as long as they can, they're.
That was kind of the intent with
Okay.
that, if, okay.
Yeah.
We can still do that then.
And I see you still have the $50 inspection fee
Yep.
for that.
Got that struck.
Okay. On the 3rd page, down at the bottom, that big paragraph, you said construction and removal of temporary entrances shall be completed and approved by the county engineer within 2 months of the permit issuance date. The question that I brought was temporary entrances. A lot of them, well, for instance, like the Evergy, we have out there, they will be in there more than 2 months. So that you just need to say unless approved. Otherwise, even though the next sentence says, is there some way to basically state a time frame on there instead of just saying it's a nominal 2 months?
I just used the nominal 2 months and sent temporary entrances without an extension, but I can highlight that.
Okay.
The extension meaning your ability to say,
Yeah.
I know it's gonna take longer like
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So,
I was just looking at that, so.
Yeah.
And then it says in the extension of time, you have an additional $50 fee.
want to get rid of that fee there as well, I assume?
Leave that one there.
Or do, because this is the,
I don't
Because
like it.
that's falling more into the
yeah, this is the culvert.
industrial.
Okay. Yeah, so
Okay,
on your, if seating is required by the county engineer in the middle there, it says prairie hay mulch. I was gonna say certified weed free, but anyway.
I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna work out
That-
well. I'll
that
let
is
you
going-
deal with them.
That is going to be harder and harder and harder in the future to come up with that, so.
No doubt.
Yeah. The other resolution for private maintenance or interference, I think that was all been taken care of there.
I assume so. I just want to be sure we've gone through it enough times,
Yep.
everybody needed their chance to weigh in.
So,
But we had, what's the difference between the one that we passed already?
I was gonna say.
It's paragraph 2.
Paragraph 2.
with the exception.
An express exception shall be recognized for minor landscape-related
Mhm.
activities.
Oh,
Based upon the
So-
discussion.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to pass this, I think you have to rescind the other one.
Yeah,
question about that. Now, even though those are exempt, they don't have to fill out anything. So what does that do for the liability of the county if something happens and they don't have this? Or this is still gonna be?
we've got the, I did the broader one for previously, that when we were dealing with some of the other kinds of issues
Okay.
along there where they were appropriating space, and there's an indemnification provision if they go ahead and undertake.
Okay.
I could probably copy it and put it in here too, it's probably a good idea.
I'm just curious, in case something happens, well, I didn't know that, that I had to have.
No, I think that's a good idea, I should just.
For
put it in
insurance
there.
or whatever else.
Under number 2, that will
Yeah.
make it all the more reason to know that, rescind the old one. I'll get that done.
Yeah.
It was in the packet.
2209.
I did have just the agenda policy really doesn't pertain to me, but I was just reading that, and on the background, the second sentence, it says need to prepare and utilize meeting agenda, it shouldn't be utilized, no D, just a typo, so. So anyway, I believe that is it, unless you guys have anything else.
Okay, commission, anything else?
We're gonna act on any of these, or
I
taking more
guess-
time to consider.
And I guess Brad will make those.
I'd really rather they were in the absolute final. form.
Right, because there's a couple of changes we made today. Let the.
Well,
We didn't make any changes though on the recreational.
Okay, Rod, you want to
Say
move
we
forward
pass
with
the
that?
resolution number 2022-20, resolution of the county and then directing enforcement of the prohibition on recreational use resulting in damage to public right-of-way or easement.
Just a second, did you have a comment on that?
No, I just thought of something else. You brought up Old Mill, or going north from Potter's Corner north down to the river to the city.
Got a motion.
What do you want to, do they want to close that? I mean,
I haven't
looked-
went to them yet, I'm just.
Okay.
I haven't done that.
Okay, well, I went and looked at it, and yeah, I mean, it's bad shape, but I don't know what we can do to make it any better.
No, that's right, there's nothing.
That's a different.
Okay, I'm bringing it back to the motion that's on the floor. I thought you had a comment
No,
on,
sorry.
on the resolution. So we have a motion from Commissioner Garing to move forward with resolution 2022-20, which addresses recreational use resulting in damage to public right-of-way or easement. Second by Commissioner Becker. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0.
That was resolution number 20.
Number 20.
Do you
Okay.
have the printed copy of this?
Okay. Like I said, if there's anything else that comes up, guys, please let me know. Thanks. Do you want me to stay?
Okay.
Thought it
We
was-
stay.
I think that's fine.
get the resolution signed and then, yeah.
No, it's fine, I just wrote on
Me too.
What needs yours?
it. Yeah, mine says draft.
So you had the correct.
But it is only in pencil, my goodness.
You're just so far ahead of the game, it's just not.
Hey, Bryce, where was that? Just check that there.
Airbridge, we're talking about airbridges.
On that policy where you were talking about utilized, or
On the
where was
front.
that?
On the agenda,
Right here.
the second sentence it says
Oh, thank you.
prepare and
Second.
utilized instead of just utilize, right?
Yep,
There.
got it.
For some reason, those typos just, yeah, the fact. Middle finger.
Sign the resolution. See the resolution's ready. All right, I think we're good.
See what I'm gonna say?
Oh, okay, very good. All right.
Also thank the patching crews for getting out prior to harvest. Some of the areas up there are a lot better.
Yep.
15 minutes?
Probably 15.
Okay.
Potential litigation with Ford, Brad, Tina, Bryce, and I.
Done. I move that we recess to executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B.
Should be number 2, consultation with attorney.
Sorry. Item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege with the commission, Bryce, Sharon, Brad, and Tina for 15 minutes from 3 o'clock to 3:15.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0.
First sentence, it's quit bugging us.
Okay, cameras are on. And good to go here.
I haven't seen the express wordage. That's a layman's.
No
Okay, good.
comment, huh?
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we're out of executive session. No decisions made. I'm going to ask for another 10 minutes. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential litigation pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Item 2, consultation with our attorney, attorney-client privilege with the commission, Sharon, Bryce, Brad, Tina for 10 minutes. Let's go 3:17 to 3:27.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dalkey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll be back 3:27.
3:27?
Unless Crawford's
This
chair.
conference will now be recorded.
Still got it. It's true. Okay, we are out of executive session. No decisions made. County Councilor, you're up.
I think we've dealt with most of the issues that were follow-ups from last week. A couple of other things we discussed last time, 230th and Eagle and the right-of-way issue. And we left it with you that I would go ahead and seek out, or Bryce and I would, different types of appraisers. I've done so, up to 4 that would be qualified who could potentially do it, all kind of generally in the same price range, and they have a whole lot of wiggle room in that. Well, if you want it quicker, or, because Bryce is really needing it done soon. So I'll try to get firmer prices from them, but he and I talked about that this morning. I got the call from the 4th one this morning, so I'm gonna get those to him, and try to see if we can move ahead with getting that part resolved and get somebody out and give us a number.
Very good.
The other thing is, if you check your email, I sent you the, on the one property that we're closing on in theory tomorrow, the inspection. We may again want to do an executive session on land acquisition for maybe 10 minutes to talk about a couple of things.
moves we recess into executive session in order to discuss potential property acquisition.
You get your exercise.
Real estate pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 6, preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate with the commission, Brad Tina, for 10 minutes from 3:30 to 3:40. Second by Commissioner Garing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carried. We'll be back at 3:40.
This conference will now be recorded.
Utilities at home.
I think that you guys got to pull it, it'll be all right.
All right, we are out of executive session. I would make a motion that we delay the closing on 1240 Commercial Drive in light of new information. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Donkey. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Brad.
And I think that's it for today. Anything else we covered that we needed to for the morning?
Okay, I'm glad we made it short and
We're here to serve.
Oh, here we go. I knew we had one more thing. I would move to approve an invoice from Harder Certified Home Inspections in the amount of $425.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Gotta give you credit somewhere.
Thank you. Okay, that completes our routine agenda. We will open it back up for public comments, if you'd like to make public comments at this time.
Yes.
Okay, I'd ask, please come up to the microphone.
Right over here to get the chair right beside you, right over here. This thing right here.
I'm not sure I want to sit by you.
Good to see you on the camera.
You've been very patient all afternoon. Just
That's
think if
okay.
you would have made the comments at the beginning even.
I choose to wait for a specific reason. I wanted to see. I'm assuming y'all received a letter in regards to the EMS. This was going to lay dormant. I wasn't going to send a letter. But after reading the paper and the commission meeting for the last almost month, 5 weeks, each week it's brought up that the social media post that was posted by me was falsified and was basically a flat lie. I think as you guys can see, that was not correct at all. The morning after we finally got transferred out of here, as the letter stated, that the EMS director did notify me via phone, pretty much had the same conversation that my social media post was not true. The only way he even saw my social media post, I did not realize Roger and him were friends, which didn't make a difference to me one way or the other. I was still gonna post it. He informed me that the response time was only 3 minutes. I understand what a response time is. That's from the time they're paged till the time they go 10:23 or on scene. The response time was 23 minutes. And that came directly off the CAD system from Mission Control that the state of Kansas pays for our hospital to use that via EMS. So the times that I put on there came directly off of the hospital medical records and Mission Control. Not my watch, but Mission Control's watch. We've been gone. Like I said, it took me a little while to even send this letter because I thought you guys needed to finally put a face to the name, 1. 2, to hear the other side of the story that has went on, not just the EMS director's side of the story. I worked EMS in a rural facility, Ottawatomie County. I've also worked out of AMR, Human Medical Center, and Children's Mercy, and did have flight time with, actually MAST out of Fort Riley and Lifestar at Topeka in Junction City. When I spoke with the EMS director about some of my concerns in regards to the transfers, In a rural community, transfers is your bread and butter money. I mean, those, you cannot guarantee a 911 call. You can't guarantee how many 911 calls you will get. If that's from a major 1048, or if that's when grandma slipped and needs assistance into bed. Transfers are bread and butter for a rural community. The more transfers you have, the more income you should be having coming in. That's how you get new units, more education, and more staff. And I understand there is a shortage in staff in all healthcare right now. But there shouldn't be a reason that Marion County has at least 2 full-time units staffed, is that correct? There's
Yes,
2
that's what we
full-time
have
units?
right now, yes.
That there's not a reason why when 2 patients are laying at the facility here in Marion cannot get transferred out in a timely fashion. The first patient was there before we even got there. She laid there till 7 o'clock the next morning, needing a transfer only to Hutch. That's all the farther she was going. We only needed a transport to Newton. Wichita didn't have a bed, so we had, our next choice was Newton. When your EMS director specifically tells you that my job is not transfers, he is not a private entity. He is a public entity that works for you guys and for us as taxpayers. So for him to start to pick and choose what calls he wants to take or not calls, that doesn't work like that. Or at least you guys shouldn't let it work like that. Now, if it was AMR, a public ran, or a privately ran entity, you can pick and choose, but not as a county unit. And I understand too, there were some comments about unpaid ambulance bills. You know what? There's unpaid bills everywhere. It happens. And right now with the economy, people are gonna have to pick and choose what they can pay first and what they can't pay first. The write-offs that EMS has to do, hospital, doctor's offices, that's all insurance issues. That's not a public issue, that's an insurance issue. Insurance makes their decision on what they'll pay and not pay. It is what it is. But I just wanted you guys all to be aware of our side of the story, put a face. He needed the transport. His comment to me was, why don't you just take me yourself? And I actually told him, if I had somebody that would drive us at that time of the night, I would have ran the risk and took him myself. And if he coded on me, start CPR and drive like hell. But I wasn't gonna leave a hospital against doctor's orders either. I'm a little smarter than that. So, if y'all have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them, but I just wanted everybody to be aware of the other side of the story.
Okay,
And I was a little tired of being called a liar for 4 weeks in a row.
We appreciate you coming in and your patience this afternoon to present your case.
Okay,
So thank you.
Have a good day.
thank you, you too.
Thank you, Roger.
I am feeling good though. Got tuned up.
Maybe I
huh?
shouldn't have
Got a little
taken
tune up.
Well, if you'd called me, and said who the patient was, I'd have taken it.
You would have taken it?
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's what happened with EMS too, so it is what it is.
Have
Thank
a
you
good
guys,
day.
have a good day.
Thank you.
I've already sent to both Security First as well as the Realtor an offer if the Realtor wants a copy of the report, and also that we won't be closing tomorrow, so that's done already now.
Okay. Very good. Just to follow up on the subject, the St. Luke CEO has agreed to meet with the commission committee and Travis. I would ask Commissioner Galkey to serve on that committee since you've got long-standing experience. So hopefully we can discuss the issues with the hospital and with providers. Hopefully Dr. Hodson will be involved, and I'll get in touch with you when we have a date set.
If I'm involved, I'd like to be able to speak for the whole commission. And so I'd like to have us see just exactly where we, I don't know, or do we just take the concerns and bring back?
That was my intent, was to go and listen.
Okay.
Hear from the providers, hear from Travis, hear from hopefully our medical director, Dr. Hodson, can attend.
I think it'd be best if there was two
Yes,
commissioners.
yes. So it'd be Commissioner Dalkey and myself.
Okay. Not gonna delegate that?
No, I'll stick with it.
Harvest will be over.
Harvest will be over before we set the
Okay.
meeting. Is there any other commission comments? If not, are we ready to adjourn?
Okay. So 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock Wednesday. Is it closing?
Wednesday's still on.
Oh, sorry for the closing.
Yeah. Wednesdays.
For Deacon Frogs.
For 1 o'clock. I'm coming to sign.
Yeah, because I got delegated to the vice chair.
22nd at 1 o'clock.
That's Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Deacon Frogs.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Man.
He did.
Motion, Commissioner
Second.
Dalkey, Commissioner Garing, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you.
I seen that finger up.